Hey, this is Gerry Visca, the publisher of Defyeneurs, and welcome to the new issue, the Top 50 Health and Wellness Tips. We are super excited about the power and energy of this publication and the lineup of world-class experts that I'm truly inspired to shine a light on. This is an exciting live interview that we include in each issue of Defyeneurs, connected to each profile. So get ready, because we are live with Dr. Kristy Prouse of Oakville. Welcome, Kristy.
Hi there, Gerry. So great to chat with you.
You know, Kristy, I'm really excited about the work that you're doing. You're the founder, of the Institute for Hormonal Health, and I love seeing the energy of what you're creating. There's a quote that you share here, and it goes like this: "I want to be remembered for the lightness I may have shone into someone's life, the kind words that made someone's day." I just love that. So, share with listeners, Kristy, why have you chosen to serve others through health and wellness?
Well, it certainly has been a long journey, and definitely something that is also ingrained within me. It's been just part of me since I was very, very young, and that desire to help others and to encourage others and to boost others along the way. But to do so through the health and wellness industry really came through my love of science. And that was pretty evident not only as a kid, but in high school it was where my strengths were. And interestingly enough, even in high school, I did an aptitude test that suggested that I should go into the medical profession. But even in the 1980s, which I still find a little bit shocking, my guidance counselor suggested that girls were just not good at math and science and that I better be looking in a different direction. And unfortunately, I didn't listen to that advice and pursued a couple of undergraduate degrees in psychology and genetics and cell biology, and then moved on to get my medical degree. And it really actually didn't end there, having done my specialty training in obstetrics and gynecology, and then doing further training in anti-aging and regenerative medicine. So clearly that love of science has pushed me along the whole way, and really just following my heart and what it was that I really liked to do. And that, of course, marries beautifully with that desire to help others.
I love that. I love how you share that health and wellness was always a part of you, and your focus on boosting others. And you certainly have a passion for science and for education. It just doesn't stop with you. Kristy, you have a tremendous and significant understanding of the body's ability to heal itself. And I just think that's extraordinary. Share with us, how are you inspiring others through health and wellness?
Yeah, well, although my training is in conventional medicine as an obstetrician and gynecologist, it really took my own health issues to force me to look at things differently. And it is, amazing what physician heal thyself will do. I struggled with, what is sort of loosely known as burnout. I was struggling with fatigue and, sleep disruption and foggy thinking, and really turned to what I knew in conventional medicine and couldn't piece myself together. And so it was with opening my heart and my mind to other possibilities. Really, I kind of laugh now, but out of desperation, went to see a naturopath and a traditional Chinese medical doctor, all in the same morning, of course, because that's what you do when you're a type A personality and are prone to that burnout. And interestingly, they both said the very same thing to me, and that I had something called adrenal fatigue. Well, adrenal fatigue, to me, I'd never heard of. Adrenals, yes. And so, conventional medicine will look at the extremes of disease, which I clearly didn't have, and nor do most of us. But what they were talking about, this adrenal fatigue, was basically in the middle, and it's a stress-related phenomena. And of course, doing what you do as a doctor, and in addition to that, certainly many, many other people suffer with the impact that stress is having on us. And really, not one of us is getting away with it, because stress to me isn't just the emotional and psychological. It's also any infections in the body, inflammation, food sensitivities, environmental toxins, right? So we're all getting hammered from multiple directions. So I was struggling, and I really couldn't figure myself out. And so it was opening my mind and my heart to other possibilities that introduced me to this whole other world of the principles of naturopathic medicine, but it covers a lot of different areas of medicine around the world where the body does have an absolutely innate ability to heal itself. And not only that, but we have been provided in our environment with all the healing modalities, whether it be through our foods and nutrition, or even from the earth itself, and electromagnetic frequencies. We've been given all that we need to heal. And so that paradigm shift for me was huge. I was certainly the classic, blinders on type of doctor that if we didn't learn it in medical school, then it couldn't possibly be true. Failing to recognize that more than half the world practices a different type of medicine and has done so quite nicely for thousands of years. And so it was with this shift that I recognized, wow, there is a big gap, and a big gap particularly in conventional medicine, and I'm falling right into it. So if I'm falling into it, who else out there is? And can there be something to offer all of these other people? And the answer is yes. And the funny thing is that what I actually in many ways have stepped out of my old world. I no longer am in the operating room. I'm no longer on labor and delivery. I now am office-based, and I am practicing in a way that sort of resembles my old world, but I'm certainly treating patients in an entirely different way, and it's pretty basic. Once you figure out what's going on with somebody and objectively prove, where their deficiencies are, it's a lot about either replacing their bodies with things that we've proven they're missing, so things like vitamins and nutrients and minerals, or supporting the body to heal itself through foods and supplements, or replacement of hormones, again, things that the body is missing. But just as important as dealing with the body is addressing the mind and the spirit. And in actual fact, you really are not going to make the progress that you want, and you're not going to get better and stay better if you don't address the mind and the spirit. Because really, that is a big component, and it does impact on the body physiologically. And it, in many ways, is what holds us down and holds us back.
I love that. I love your energy, Kristy. I love that I love how you share we've been given everything and all the things to heal, and just the fact that you've expanded, beyond traditional medicine and first starting off by healing yourself. I just think you're an absolute gift to this world, and there's no doubt that you're a difference maker, and you're truly making a difference in the world. Share with me, why is it more important than ever to share these top 50 health and wellness tips, to really educate the world more than ever?
I think collectively we are in trouble, and I think we're in trouble in a big way. And I listed those things that, in my mind, are classified as stressors, and it is the emotional and psychological. Right? We are all going at 100 miles an hour with a crazy long to-do list, and are upset with ourselves when we don't, cross, things off of our list. And so, that alone is one thing. But if we talk about, environmental toxins, and, the obvious are, the pesticides that come in our food, but it's also the electromagnetic radiation. And that's coming from our cell phones and from our computers and, cell phone towers. And we are really being bombarded in there is no generation before us that lives the way that we do. And therefore, it is no surprise that 80% of the North American population struggles with some degree of adrenal fatigue, which is cortisol dysregulation, which is ultimately a stress-related phenomena. So it is absolutely crucial that we return people to what they're actually meant to be. It's one of the most common things that I hear in my office is number one, this isn't me. And number two is, thank you for giving me back. So we're in trouble. And, the reality is that just as we all know that the environment is struggling, well, we're part of our environment, and we're struggling with that as well. And it's just on some of the more fundamental basics of physiology that are being impacted. So, shockingly, it really isn't anything fancy that needs to be done. And so I think restoring people from, the body front, the physical aspect of it, that renewal of the mind, renewal of the spirit is really, it's an opportunity for growth and an opportunity for, people to find their way back to the basics, to the fundamentals of the core of their being. And so that, has a huge impact and has impact far and wide, really.
I love that. I love that you're giving people back. Like thank you for giving me back. I just, I think that's extraordinary. And, you share that we're in greater trouble than ever before. And, share with us a little bit more around the difference that, you wish to make in the world.
I think, it's been a really kind of a fun journey for me to watch the changes that I'm seeing in my own patient population. And at first I was seeing the impact that treating the body was having. And then for those of my patients that truly embrace the entire program that we offer at the Institute for Hormonal Health, the true impact and the lasting impact that it was having for people was very rewarding. And, now that I've been doing this for several years and have seen, thousands of patients and had just some fantastic results, it really has inspired me to move it forward. And I really don't want to be the rate limiting step in all of this. And so what I've done with the knowledge that I've accumulated over the years and with a team of practitioners supporting that is to educate others in what I do, and so that they can influence their circles. So, whether it be naturopathic doctors or like-minded medical doctors, osteopaths, chiropractors, there really is a way of putting it forward so that it's not just limited to my patient population, but to really spread it as far and wide as we can. So education for me is really key to what I do. It's key for my patients to understand why they're doing what they're doing, and it's key to educate other practitioners so that they can get the word out to their patient populations as well.
I love that. Yeah, I want to stay in that for a bit. How can people, your future patients, listeners that are getting inspired by this live interview, how can they prepare themselves before coming to see you? Like, what can they become aware of now before it's too late? What would you like them to become aware of?
Well, it's a really interesting question, because even if I look at my own story and see what my patients are struggling with, many of us have actually become quite numb and are somewhat oblivious to how we're actually feeling. And if we are aware that we're feeling, we paint it with very broad strokes. I feel flat, I'm tired. It's very important that we listen to our body and that we dig a little deeper than just the broad brush strokes. In fact, one of the things that I commonly see is we are going so fast in this world, and it's also something that seemingly the smarter you are, the less likely you are to recognize the impact that what you're doing is having on your body. As I say, we're going so fast, we don't slow down long enough until it's too late, when we can't deny the physical symptoms, that things are really going off the rails, and they really truly have gone off the rails behind the scenes as well. So what I would recommend to people is to recognize that they more than likely are having symptoms. They may not have connected the dots because the symptoms can be far and wide. And recognizing and even documenting is very helpful, seeing if there's any patterns to this behavior or symptoms. And I think also, I've alluded to stress a couple of times. There's not a patient that walks through my door that isn't there because of a stress-related impact that they're having on their body. We need to slow down, and we need to understand that, eliminate the stressors in our lives where we can eliminate them. And if we can't eliminate them, then we better start working on techniques to change our perspective on our stress. There's so much out there now about, mindfulness, and there's different, healing practitioners that are, approaching this from a different angle. There's just so many ways that we can look to reduce our own personal stressors, and, choosing differently how we eat. certainly like as simple as turning our cell phones off on our bedside table at night to minimize the exposure that we're getting to some of the dirty electricity. I mean, there's just so many things that we need to pay attention to in our world, and every little bit helps in moving forward. So I would say pay attention, document what symptoms you're experiencing, and start doing some of the basics that we all know we should be doing, is eating right and exercising, and it goes well beyond that, but actually caring for our bodies is the first step in all of this.
I love that. I love that advice, recognizing and documenting the symptoms. That's just fantastic. I want to get into, you've created some really cool online environment, educational programs. So they're very comprehensive. Mm-hmm. Can you share with us these programs?
Yeah, it's actually directed at the practitioners so that they can push the word forward, but it really goes beyond the education of the practitioners themselves. Yes, they need to know what they're doing, of course, but it allows them access to an electronic medical record that is full of a whole suite of tools that I use to manage patients, and that includes patient videos. So again, I'm really big on the education, yes, of practitioners, but also on educating patients. You need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, and by educating patients, you certainly get better compliance, and with better compliance, you're getting better outcomes. And so built into this educational program and certification in this IHH, or Institute for Hormonal Health certification, you have access to not only this suite of tools that I'm talking about and the educational videos for the patients, but it taps practitioners into a larger medical community of like-minded doctors who are trained in the same Institute for Hormonal Health methods. So it's about reaching the greatest number of people, maintaining the highest quality of care, and educating in the process. And so that's really has been my objective, moving forward with this whole educational program, is just to simply spread the word and keep it high quality care. It's tough in this day and age to sift through the information that we can get on the internet around health-related issues, and sometimes it's good information, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's conflicting. Does it apply to you specifically? Is it harmful in your particular case? So, it is important that you are working with a practitioner that knows what they're talking about, so that they can guide you through some of these hoops. And unfortunately, certainly in the conventional medical community, there are not many that are doing what I do. But the good news is that there are a host of other specialists and naturopaths and osteopaths and chiropractors that do have a really good grasp of some of the basic principles of healing.
I love it. I just love it. I love how you've just brought all this together in such a beautiful, comprehensive way, and it's just such a holistic, just phenomenal way of bringing it together. Kristy, my final question for you, it's a legacy question, and it's an important question for me because you're making such a difference, and I believe you'll be remembered for this. So, share with us, what did your peers, your friends and family say about Dr. Kristy Prouse years from now? How did she live her life?
Well, I do want to make impact, and I do obviously want to make a positive impact. And, I think the easiest way of doing that is really by being me and by putting forward my, my desire to help others and to impact people one-on-one. Yes, I want to get and reach the larger masses, but I do want to be remembered for the impact that I'm having with individuals. And it is about the touch on the arm, the smile, the nod. I do want people to feel loved and cared for and understood. And I think that's how we actually all make a difference moving forward. It is that one-on-one interaction.
I love it. Dr. Kristy Prouse of Oakville, Reviving of the Spirit is what I call this profile, pages 10 and 11 of Defyeneurs, the top 50 health and wellness tips. Just on behalf of everyday people doing extraordinary things, I want to thank you for sharing your amazing and extraordinary gifts with the world. Thank you so much.
Oh, Gerry, thank you so much. It was great to connect with you, and I love the work that you're doing and in passing on so many others.